So in like three, two, one, it'll start to happen. Okay, I think that we're live. All right. Howdy and aloha, everyone. This is James with Monotalk. I have a show that brings a lot of people on from all over the country, places all over the world. We talk about issues, foreign and domestic, international, all kinds of things. But the goal is for me, is to save the planet and all of its inhabitants. And that's a lot to work with, but we have some people that come on here every once in a while that are definitely involved in making sure that's going to happen because we are at the precipice, and I've said it a bunch of times, so it's time to start getting that going. So, with that being known, I also have somebody that's very worldly, very intuitive, tons of wisdom and knowledge, and I have him on the show tonight, and his name is Cal Songmaker Ziesing. Sorry, I screwed that up already.
No worries.
Okay, so let me go ahead and get you on here real quick and then put your name where it's supposed to be, and you're all set. Cal, thank you so much for being with us this evening. What time is it where you're at on the East Coast?
That's a bit after, well, it's just about 11, actually.
Perfect,
Almost
perfect
11,
timing for our group.
11 p.m.
That's perfect
Yeah,
timing for our group. And
but
then we
I
got
think it's about 8 o'clock there.
Yeah, it's about 8ish over here. So excellent. All right. So Cal, welcome. Thank you so much again. And so what's going on, man? How you doing? What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing good. At the moment, even though I'm from California, I'm back here in Tennessee helping my son out who's going to college back here. He's a musician and he's in a music program back here. And the reason I think you have me on is because I am running for the United States Senate against Dianne Feinstein, and mostly because I think we need to get rid of the corporate liberal, and we need to get rid of corporate people of every stripe. Doesn't matter. Uh, it doesn't matter who they are. If they're in favor of corporate America running the country, then that's what I oppose.
And there's a ton of those. I think we have a very big infestation. We'd like you to go out there with a big a canister, and fumigate the place, right? Get them
Yeah,
scrambling out of there like a bunch of freaking cockroaches that they are. So
yeah.
in the title, just let you know, it's a get to know Cal. So Cal, can you tell us a little about yourself, background, just where you from, how you doing, what's going on?
Well, yeah, I am kind of an old man here, so it's a long story. I'll try to cut as much BS out of it as I possibly can.
Nice.
My father was a career Army man. I went in the Navy reluctantly. I was what's called a reluctant volunteer. I was drafted. I joined the Navy instead of going in the Army. I began opposing the war then, was involved in the original Vietnam moratorium. I was involved in the Kent State demonstrations after the National Guard shot students at Kent State and Jackson State in Mississippi. And I've been involved in anti Klan demonstrations. I published an anarchist periodical for a number of years from a bookshop I owned in Connecticut. And I was a participant in the Occupy movement. That's some of the stuff. There's a lot more, but try to make it quick for you.
Well, we're not in a big hurry, but that's a lot of background. That's really great to know that you've been fighting actually with, but in a sense, on the correct side of justice and peace and freedom and everything that this nation is supposed to be standing for. But it's taken a very fucked up turn, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So the thing is Dianne Feinstein. Nobody likes her. She's a corporatist. She's gone off the deep end. What do you think you'd like to do in your campaign that would help you to get to get seen more besides here to get, and what would you like to do to get yourself in front of her? I mean, besides just like ram your car in front of her car and just get out and start talking to her.
Well, I don't actually. know if I ever will get myself in front of her. I wish I could. My job is a lot harder because I didn't make the ballot. We can talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
And they certainly don't invite Green Party candidates to participate in any debates, as we know. Probably won't even have any debates because, uh, the corporate media doesn't like that.
Right.
Uh, so I'm here. Just send me a message, Diane. I'm happy to meet you. I'll be polite because I'm a polite man, but I will also take you to task for a lot of the things that you've done during your career.
But at least you're getting your message out. I mean, my question was more kind of what you would say to her if you ever had a conversation with her. I mean, if you were able to get her in a corner, I mean, what would you kind of tell her to do or say? I mean, what would be your first few words to her?
Well, I think, I was thinking about this interview today, and in my view, there's really one overriding issue, and that issue is war. The reason that's the overriding issue is because it's so expensive. And if we could put a stop to this madness with the military, then I think a lot of things could begin to fall into place, including healthcare, education, the arts, and all the other things that are important, like infrastructure. But we waste such a staggering amount of money on war and military that I would bring up that issue with her and say, by all means, let's put an end to these wars, Diane. Or else, how about putting Donald Trump out of office? Maybe that would be a good thing. That's kind of a litmus test too, isn't it? I mean, whether or not somebody is in favor of impeaching Trump, and I haven't really heard anything from Diane about that. When it becomes expedient, she'll probably say something, and it's getting closer, but it's not there yet.
So that gives me a good question in regards to impeaching Trump because I know a lot of Democrats have brought it up. Rachel Maddow's brought it up 1,000 times. Chris Hayes, everybody on MSNBC has brought it up. CNN has mentioned it, and even Fox has even kind of hinted at it every once in a while. But do you believe that? I mean, to the core, do you really believe that impeaching Donald Trump would fix anything?
Would it fix anything? I don't know. It might fix something like Syria or the potential other wars that he's trying to start or continue. It might fix those things faster if we could get somebody in there who. But well, obviously, the next question is Pence. I'm very well aware of Pence's positions. I followed Pence since he was governor of Indiana, and I know that he's not a whole lot better. But we cross that bridge when we come to it. Or you never know what's going to happen. You're a young man there, Jim. So you probably don't remember Spiro Agnew and Richard Nixon.
I
But
was, I think I was a baby at that time.
yeah, okay. And maybe you know from history that Spiro Agnew was the first one to go. So people who would have worried about him taking over the presidency, which would have been a legitimate worry, in the end, they didn't have to worry about that at all. Of course, Gerald Two Left Feet Ford took over for Nixon, and that wasn't a whole lot better, but it wasn't Spiro Agnew anyway. So I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. We have to try to do what's right, and the right thing to do is to remove Donald Trump from office and put him behind bars because I think he is a criminal.
Okay, so you think Donald Trump is a criminal on what proof or what evidence do you have of that? I'm just wondering.
Well, I think the Stormy Daniels thing is about lots more than sex. I think he paid her off. I think he might have paid her off with campaign funds. I think he's bribed people. I think he's in cahoots with the Russians. I think he's in cahoots with a lot of governments around the world for his real estate business. I think he ripped off people from Trump University. I think that he has lied, cheated, manipulated, and exploited people from the very beginning of his career in politics and business.
Okay. So
The number of lawsuits that he's facing is seems to
unprecedented.
me pretty. What's that?
It's unprecedented, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So that's not proof, though, that he's a criminal. I'm not standing up for him. I'm saying
Yeah, no, you're not.
that, but what I'm saying is have we had other criminals? I'm just wondering, have we had
In
other?
politics?
No, in as POTUS, as the president of the United States, have we had other?
Sure. I think they're all criminals in a way. All of these wars are have been undeclared, haven't they? Since Korea, really,
Right.
and they're illegal wars. I think I'm not a big Obama fan. I don't think he was a particularly good president, but he's not. You know, the standard for corruption and perhaps even evil reached new heights when Donald Trump took over. Which is not to say that I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I didn't. She's not much better. But I wasn't going to play the lesser of evils game that you were probably encouraged to do, as were a lot of Green Party people.
Yeah, no, I voted for Jill Stein. And I slept very well in doing that.
Yes,
So
me too.
since you've been around, you know, I guess you've been around a little bit longer than I have, obviously. But have you ever heard of the book by Smedley D. Butler? You ever heard of that?
The general.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
general. War is a
yeah,
racket. So, and this is a book he put together in 1935.
yeah,
And this guy saw it first. I mean, from what I'm saying is he actually saw, and that book is always looked up. People are always referencing to it because he's the one that saw the beginning of the collusion between uh, of the economy of war and how it started to evolve. The birth of it is at that moment, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if I remember correctly, and I might not, I believe he served in the army for over 30 years, and he was a two-time Medal of Honor winner.
Yeah.
I,
Good.
I I
Yeah.
think that's right.
Yeah. Whatever the case may be, is that he had the first he was in the trenches literally and able to work with the top brass to see where money was moving around, to see
Yeah,
where politicians were going with their narratives and their talking points, and he started going, this cannot keep happening. So he wrote a book, but nobody ever paid attention.
yeah, and
so
it is a
so
racket. I mean, he's right.
yeah.
He was right, wasn't he? It is a racket, and that's what's going on with Trump, and that's why I say Trump is a criminal. And how do you find that out? Is you indict him and put him on trial. That's a very simple answer, right?
Right.
Let's let the job be done by those investigating it and put the man on trial.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you have this book that comes out and this guy's got this information, he's kind of like, in a sense, to me, he's a whistleblower. So whistleblowers and all these people that have brought out some pretty scary and heinous and very interesting information about other governments and especially ours. So when it comes to WikiLeaks, are you familiar with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Who the government of Ecuador recently denied access to internet for him.
Right. Are you familiar? Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing him up and what I'm getting to is, so if you've got all this information and you know what's going on and how this, I call it a two-party oligarchy. I mean, it's a kleptocracy. It's these elite controlling and puppets. So so there have been other criminals. George Bush was definitely George W. Bush
Sure.
was a serious
Yeah.
criminal, and
Yeah.
people want to try him for war crimes like you wouldn't believe. Dick Cheney, war crimes. The list goes on and on, back and back and back. Decades and decades. So no
Yeah.
matter who they put in, okay, and then so what I'm getting to is, do you really believe that the next person that this media, this corporately owned society is going to put somebody in that's not going to be somewhat of a just a cockroach or a piece of crap or somebody that nobody's really going to like? What after they start developing and doing their policies that do nothing for us? I mean, what's the
Well,
difference from Trump and everybody else? That's what I'm saying.
I said that I put out an anarchist publication. If you Google the Michael Ziesing name, you might see an article that I wrote.
Mm,
So I'm going to probably surprise you in a way that, when I say in some way, I don't believe that we will solve the problem by electing Mr. Clean or Mrs. Clean. I don't believe they exist. But I do believe that we have to try our best to do what we can. And I think that voting and making an effort to make a statement and find the people who at least show that they have a conscience and a soul and believe in justice and freedom,
mhm.
I think we have to try.
Okay. So my question to you is: does it matter who's POTUS with the system that we have now, or do you think Trump is just the Trump is more of? You're familiar with Jimmy Dore? Do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of
He
it.
always states is he Trump is the symptom. He's the, he's the symptom of where our politics, where our media, where our culture, where our country is gone. He's the product of what we've created.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. I agree with him on that.
Yeah.
He is a symptom. I saw a review about a documentary film on one of these ultimate fighting ultimate fight guys that fight in the cage, And I'm
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of that at all.
Okay.
But I watched it because it got a good review, and it gave me a really deep understanding of that symptom, that anger and hatred and foul mouth, filthy, obnoxious, beat the shit out of them kind of mentality that a lot of people have. But it didn't do it in a condescending way or a patronizing way toward the working class. We need to understand the working class. Most of us come from working class people. We need to support unions. We need to recognize where some of this anger and hatred comes from. And that is the ultimate cause. Jimmy Dore's right. Trump is the symptom of that anger and hatred.
Okay. Because I just sensed a little bit of anger and hatred for you towards Trump, and he's just the symptom. He's the product of what we have, and sadly, you know, do you think the media had anything to influence why he's where he's at?
Actually, I don't really have any anger and hatred toward Trump. If he goes to jail, I'll make sure that I send him my thoughts and prayers.
You'll take you'll, you'll set up a pie with some wrenches in it, maybe
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with a little hacksaw inside of it.
I'll leave that out.
Okay, yeah, leave that out. All right, so you're obviously nobody's a big fan, but um, so you do believe that, and this is good because everybody knows this, and I know you know this, but you do believe that we are working against a very large megalithic system. We have mega Godzilla over here, and then you've got regular gods. We got this giant monster over here, and it's tough. And the thing is when you have like Green Party candidates that can't get, it seems, anywhere,
Yeah.
because the system is already colluded and corrupted and rigged
Oh, it's
against the third
amazing
party.
how corrupted it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The hoops that I have to do to jump through just to be a write-in candidate are mind-boggling. It's not just like you say, write me in. They don't count your votes unless you are an official write-in candidate. And you have to get signatured for that, and you have to do it. I've got to make sure to be back in California to go to the registrar's office there to sign the document. The documents have to all be in order, and that's far easier than it was to try to get on the ballot, which a lot of the candidates, I don't know who, and I don't blame them for this,
Mhm.
a lot of the candidates paid money legally, officially, to the government to get on the ballot. If you didn't get the signatures, you had the option of paying thousands of dollars, I might add, and something that many of us don't have. So it's mind-boggling, the process, and it's designed to exclude people who have an alternative perspective on things, and designed to exclude people who are opposed to the status quo and the corporate power structure in this country.
That's been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, as
Yeah, I
long as
get you.
I've been alive.
Yeah, you've witnessed this for a long time, and I just actually, I have a picture on my Facebook of a meteor uh, smashing the planet, and it's a little thing saying, "Sorry that I voted like an idiot when I was younger," and that's for my kids. Because I listened, I got caught up in Fox, I got caught up in MSNBC, I got caught up in CNN. I was hearing all the baloney, all the hoopla, all the hype. I wasn't we at that as well as I, social media hasn't really been around for over
Yeah,
10 or
that's
15
right.
years. So we were going off of what the publications told us, like Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Today, whatever. A good publication that I brought up the other day was Newsweek. Used to be a great publication, but obviously they took a shit. They were like the only Jimmy Dore that was out there. They were like the only uh, 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 what is that? Lee Camp that was out there, redacted tonight. Now they were like the only kind, like RT, which is sad. They're from another country that's giving it to us straight. Hey, have you ever heard of Ben Schwann?
Yeah,
Isn't he cool? He's got some good
yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Rich people are out there, but they don't. The, they're only known to people who are willing to dig around and find them.
Yeah. It seems like they're only going to give the spotlight to the puppets.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah, and in a way, you were talking about how you voted when you were younger. In a way, this might be the rumblings of an old man or something. In a way, I think things might have been better in terms of the candidates anyway when I was younger. I voted for Eugene McCarthy, the man who really was, really, in my view, responsible for Lyndon Johnson deciding not to run again. People will give Bobby Kennedy the credit for that, but Eugene McCarthy ran before Bobby Kennedy did,
Whoa.
and and uh, and after that, there was George McGovern, who was, I think, he was a decent man. I really do. Maybe that's you know nostalgia on my part or something. Um, I, I voted for those two, and then I voted for a man named Fred Harris, a senator from Oklahoma who ran for president, who went against big oil and lost his Senate seat. Obviously, he didn't get very far in his run for presidency either. And but his wife is LaDonna Harris, a very big person in the Native American movement, and Native American issues are very, very important to me because I'm a Native American. Actually, technically, I'm a Native Alaskan.
That's pretty cool. I have cousins that live in Alaska. I've lived in Alaska several times. Recently I did. There's a DNA test you can do,
Yeah.
and it's called 23andMe. There's a plug for you. And I thought, and my mom and my grandmother used to say, you guys come from Native Americans. Your your great grandmother was last name was Breedlove, right? Which was like everybody's Cherokee, I guess was Cherokee. So we did the 23andMe, and I found out I have no Native American at all, at all.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I make you an honorary Native American.
Well, I am Hawaiian, so Hawaiians
Well,
are
yeah,
yeah
well, that matters. That's
yeah
if you're
that's
Native Hawaiian, that's
that's
native.
that's
But
native. But
uh,
what's interesting is in regards to everybody that has all these nationalities and these uh, their ancestries and all that. It's the it's important, but what's seriously important, and this is my question to you, is the money in politics. Do you think that's a big deal, or I mean, this seems
I
kind of
think it's a
stupid.
real big deal.
Yeah, this is kind of a dumb question.
I already mentioned getting on the ballot, and obviously, do you think it's irrelevant that Dianne Feinstein, this isn't counting her husband, Dianne Feinstein, according to Wikipedia, is worth $99 million? I mean, does that help her? Of course it does. I
Yeah,
mean, the four, five, $6,000, whatever it was, that I would have had to pay to get on the ballot, that's chump change to her. So that's nothing to her.
yeah,
As someone who is on food stamps, me, that's a hell of a lot of money to me.
that's a ton of money. Yeah, that
Yeah,
it's insane that um, there are so many people that are running for offices in other parties, and they claim that they're going to really change it up, and they're going to internally fix the Democratic Party or internally fix the Republican Party. But those parties, do you think they're pretty corrupted and they're just unchangeable, or do you think that's even possible?
yeah, I think they're unchangeable. I think they're corrupt to the core. I don't think they're going to change. You have some yahoos that are already talking about Hillary running again. I mean, please, come on. And the darling now is Elizabeth Warren. She's no better. She's voted for all kinds of crap that shouldn't be in place. She sold out. And let's face it, in terms of endorsing Hillary, Bernie sold out.
Yeah,
I guess I think it was at the very minimum, a very large mistake.
hugely. A lot of us agree, and many do agree that Bernie is still in some way the cabin boy for the DNC, which is kind of sad. You know,
Yeah, yeah, he still says some good things, but can he be trusted?
right?
I don't. If he runs with the Democrats, I would never dream of voting for him.
Right.
I did vote for him in the California primary. I changed my affiliation to Democrats for the duration of the California primary, and then I changed back.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, me
changed a
too.
lot. I belonged to the Peace and Freedom Party for a while
Oh,
too.
nice, nice. Yeah, they're right in tune with the Green Party.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is huge. When you have such a colluded group that's running our nation, have you heard of the deep state or the shadow government and all this stuff? Do you ever hear
yeah,
about all that stuff?
yeah. I hear about it.
What do you think?
I don't. I think the deep state is pretty shallow. I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, deals and all of that stuff. Sure, there's a lot of corruption going on behind the scenes. Absolutely. Yes. But most of us kind of at least realize on some level that that's the case. Most of us, and probably all four people who are watching this broadcast, if there are that many,
Sorry, didn't advertise that long.
and that's all right. I don't know how many there are. Maybe they'll see it later. But I'm sure that they probably would have rather seen the latest Marvel feature at the movie or something. And I don't blame them a bit. But
Oh,
yeah, Jim.
okay, so definitely you're definitely saying so you agree with that. All right, so besides that and besides this, you were in the military for a long time. What did you do
I
in the
just 4 years.
yeah, you did 4 years. You're in the Navy. I was in the Navy too for a little while. Not as long as you. I got out kind of early. But so in regards to everybody that is in the military right now, and you guys came on the other night. It was you, Justin Reinhardt, and
Yeah.
Chris Richardson, and you guys were talking about the veterans. Um, in regards to those veterans, do you think we'll ever kind of fix the VA? I mean, do you think that'll ever be taken care of?
Uh, I think the VA is better than it's often given credit for, but there are a lot of problems with it. And yes, I have hopes that it will be fixed, but it certainly won't be fixed with people like Trump or Hillary or people like that. And frankly, there's one and only one Democrat who I have a lot of respect for, and that's Tulsi from Hawaii. I think she might be the real deal. She's a veteran, and
Yeah.
I think she cares about veterans.
Yeah.
She also cares about Native Americans. She
Yeah.
did go to North Dakota for the DAPL protest.
Yeah, she did. She has some hope. A lot of us do like her. I mean, when you're green, you can pick both of these parties apart when it comes to candidates. I mean, you can. But as far as who is probably somebody that would be if we didn't have if we had only her as the choice for POTUS, right? Then
Yeah,
yes, yeah, for sure.
if if millions of people write my name on the ballot, and good luck with that. If
Do
that
they have to write
happens,
the entire
the
name?
first person I would call, yeah, the first person I would call is Tulsi. I would ask her to help me in any way she could, because I would be a newbie in Washington. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. You know, I would ask her. I trust her. I think she's a real deal. I don't know, but I think so.
I think
And she,
I think she would actually help. I think because when you live in Hawaii, and a lot of people don't know this, Ohana means family. And it's important to know that there's kind of like a bond between Polynesians that a lot of people don't, and you don't even have to be Polynesian. You can just be from Hawaii or lived in Hawaii. But once you get that bond, and this happens in other countries, cultures too, even with Native Americans, is that you're all of a sudden part of the tribe, right? In a sense, you're part of the tribe, and you've been through it, and you've gone through it, and then but you always are open to new people, and you're always willing to help. So I definitely know that she has that in her core. I definitely know that if somebody were to come up and talk to her and say, you can't keep voting for these wars and can't keep supporting these wars, and at the same time, kind of saying that you don't like the wars. But there's a lot of things that she's done that nobody's really liked. But at the same tune, I do believe that she's somebody that will kind of. I don't think she'd get as turned as definitely as a Hillary Clinton, and I don't think she'll be as turned as an Elizabeth Warren. But people don't know Elizabeth Warren used to be a Republican. But the thing is Tulsi's always been a liberal progressive for a long time. She's always been that way. But I've always liked her for sure, and she's really
yeah,
a good surfer too, and she's really cute.
yeah,
That's important.
that's great. I've never been surfing. I went to high school in California and never went surfing, but I liked all the surfing music.
Did you ever go in the water in our radiant radioactive water?
And yes, I've been in the water there a number of times. It's very cold. I
Yeah.
did live in Thailand for 16 years,
Whoa.
where the water is nice and warm and blue. at least on one of the coasts.
Yeah, it is. Thailand's got some nice places for sure.
Yeah,
16 years in
yeah,
Thailand.
yeah.
Did you have a lot of fun in Thailand?
Yes, quite honestly, I won't deny that I had a lot of fun, and but I was single at the time,
That's fine. You weren't hurting anybody but yourself. Is
and
that
I,
what you're
I
trying to say?
was respectful to everyone,
There you go.
everyone.
Nice. All right. So, hey, I think we're cool. It looks like everything's good. This is basically just to get to know who you're from, where you are, where you're from, what you're doing. And I'm just going to throw one last little question at you.
Okay.
Um, uh, if by chance, let's just say you got into office, something like a meteor hit Diane and everybody else at a debate, and you were the last person there, so they only had one opportunity. But you know, not because of you, it's because of the system that's destroying our democracy, pretty much. What would be the very first thing that you believe that you would want to do when you were in office? Anything,
Well,
anything. I don't care what it is.
yeah, I would introduce a resolution to remove all troops from the Middle East and from Europe and Africa and around the world. We need to get the troops out of everywhere, but in particular places where they are killing people.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. That's everybody wants that now, man. I This whole thing is just ridiculous. It's getting out of control. Syria has just been a mockery. Um,
Yeah,
have you ever heard of the show We Are Change? Have you heard of that show?
I've heard of it. I don't believe I've watched
Yeah,
it.
I just started watching it like a few months ago. It's pretty cool. They had Danny Glover on there. Nina
Ah,
Turner. Nina Turner was on there. Really good people. And there's so many. The social media thing is really growing pretty well. So having people on here to talk about these things is huge. But anyway, I think I'm good. I don't have a bunch of questions in the galley. Let me just check real quick if I got any questions for you in the galley. Yeah, nope. I think we're good to go. I think we've pretty much covered everything.
okay,
Cal, thank you so much for being on. You're welcome to stay. I'm going to turn us off for a little bit, and then I have
okay,
to restart a new show. But you're welcome to hang out and talk to people. From here on, it's just going to be open forum in a sense. Or if you got things to
okay,
do, you're welcome to skedaddle and do what you want to do. But want to let everyone and you know that we're always open to anybody that wants to come on as long as you be cool and stay cool. That's pretty much it.
okay. You sent me the link so I can sign up and know when things are on, right?
Yeah. I will send you the link right now. I
Okay,
couldn't do it when it first came on, but I'll do it. Let me refresh this, and I'll send you the link to your. It's just got to refresh. There you go. And I got a picture of you on that too, which is cool. I'll send it
well,
to
I
your YouTube.
feel sorry for the people who see it, but thanks very much.
Yeah, I mean, the basic reason for this show is just for people to know who you are, what you're about. There's,
Well,
there's only so
I
much
feel
we can
sorry
do.
for the people who
You
see
know,
it, but
there's only so
yeah,
much we can do.
you do a lot
Yeah,
and very much appreciated.
thank you very much for being on, sir. It was a pleasure having Cal Songmakers. What Indian are you, by the way? I didn't ask.
I, I'm a Yupik Native Alaskan. Just went through this on Facebook. I don't mind the word Eskimo. Some people, especially in Canada, mind it. But if you're interested in that topic, go to my personal page,
Right.
uh, Cal Songmaker. But that's what I am. I belong to a tribe in Alaska.
That's cool. Thank you very much, Cal, for being here. It's a pleasure. Good luck to you and everything, and hopefully we can. Hopefully one day we'll be able to corner that crazy piece of crap Feinstein. All right, take
Yeah.
care, man. Take care.